So here we go. This is my 2022 elk hunt in the Gila of New Mexico. Got to camp, stayed in my truck for about 3 to 4 nights. Enjoyed some camping, had a couple of beers, kind of looked around, just kind of trying to get my feet on the ground and figure out what's going on here. After I spent some time at camp, I went out, did some glassing, looked around, spotted in a couple areas, didn't see a whole lot of action actually until I got over here to this bull. Spotted this bull from across the creek, decided that, well, since the weather was coming in, that I better get in there and set up my spike camp. Crossed across the valley, went and set up my spike camp. Took in my pack, which weighed about 60 pounds or so. With about 10 days worth of food, got my spike camp set up. Setting up my spike camp, and I heard some bugling, decided I'd go check it out, enjoyed some sun scenery with the sunsets. Got over, figured out I was almost out of water.
The creek that I normally draw water from got totally flooded by a big rainstorm, and now it's just full of river water. So I found this seep back here last year, and there wasn't that much water in it, but enough to get water out of. So I created this little dam, made some little pump stations. So got my pump input there under the rock because the thing likes to jump around. Going up to my Catadine hiker. Going up to my 48-ounce Nalgene, which I then use to fill up all my water bladders, my blivets, and I think these ended up being a total of about 400 ounces of water.
So once I got my water set, I went and sat the lake that I or the pond or whatever you want to call it.
Tank or whatever you want to call this thing right now. And there's some little ducks swimming around. Having a good old time.
Sat here for about 7 hours enjoying the ducks and the flies when I heard like what sounded like a stampede coming in, and noticed that there was a large herd of cow elk coming in, which I could only assume meant there would be a bull involved. Elk came storming straight into the tank, scared off the ducks. And here comes the bull now. So the bull comes in and heads straight over to this wallow where he's going to spend about the next 5 to 7 minutes just kind of sniffing around over there. As you can tell, the sun was pretty much straight in my face. Had to keep my hat brim down just to be able to see anything here. So he snoops around over there. The cows romp around in the water here for a little while. So this is going to cut about 5 to 6 minutes of the film out. And eventually he decides that he's going to come over here and check out these girls. So they're sitting there wondering what he's up to. As you can see from the reflection in the pond, he decides that he's going to head over and check out these ladies. This is when it starts to get exciting. So the bull starts to wade into the water, headed over towards the cows. This is when I start to get ready. Got an arrow knocked already. I'm getting ready to draw now. I'm stashed pretty good. They can't really see me. I'm sitting on my butt. Gonna see here in a minute that my bow makes a sound as it rolls over. I'm getting pretty pumped at this point. So he's in it a little deeper than his belly. He hears me roll over. I settle my pin. and I shoot. As you can tell, I bumped the camera. So he starts getting sick here, and you can start to see him wobble. He's trying to get some air because he just got double lunged. Now I'm really getting concerned that he's going to straight up die in this tank, which I'm sitting on solo. And you can tell it's about 3 foot deep. I scream at him. And I go ahead and draw back here. I bump the camera and I take another shot. And I stick him in the butt. Trying to get him out of that tank. Which he does.
Good.
So here we are looking at him.
Now the work starts. I imagine it's going to take me 2 days, maybe more, to get him out of here. I'm a good 2.5 miles in. Got to cross a big, huge valley, but gorgeous animals. That's a lot of meat. Probably 300 pounds worth of meat right there. Bow and arrow, about 45, 50 yards. Time to get started.
He's a beautiful bull. He's a nice herd bull. He's got some real thick bases on him. He's actually broken off on his left side there. You can see here I am with a self shot of him. So I get him all cut up that night, come back the next day, and stuff him in my pack and start humping him. Not humping the bull, humping the meat. So that's where I killed the elk, and that night I got him cut up, got back to my spike camp, which you can see that's where I killed him, and I had to hike back in the dark over here to spike camp with one load and some water. I had about 400 ounces of water at the time sitting there, which I knew I was going to need. So I got all the meat, or got back to spike camp Monday night, started humping all the meat out on Tuesday, got all the meat hung up in a tree. There was a total of 5 loads, including the antlers, to get everything out. Those are 50+ pound loads, big bags of meat hanging in a meat tree. Tuesday night, go to sleep, and I wake up and start hiking the meat down to the creek. The elk was about 2 miles from spike camp. The creek is about another mile down to the bottom where I got to cross this river at. You can see the river in the back. It's normally a creek, but due to all the flooding, it's pretty rapid waters right now. Get all the meat down to the bottom of the creek, identify my route to get up the hill, start hiking it up to where you see bear. Now, that's a whole other story. But I get my camp, hike back to the truck, and I get all the meat up to where it says bear. And I get 1 load of meat back to the truck. I decide by this time, it's about 23:30, 11:30 at night, decide I'm going to go ahead and stay in my truck. Come back the next morning.
Well, you can see where the bear clawed my bag or bit it or whatever. And then, get away from me, meat bee. This is the branch that my 54-pound bag of meat was hanging on. I managed to find some tracks. He drug it off that way. Little booger. This was going to be my second to last, but now it's my last.
Well, I start hiking all that meat out, what's left of it anyway, back after I paid the Gila tax or the bear tax, whatever you want to call it. Start hiking it back to the truck.
Of all the hills I've hiked with 50+ pounds on my back, this is the last one. Last load of meat. Truck is about 200 yards right there. It's been a journey. And a bear stole some of my meat.
So I end up getting all the meat back. Turns out I hiked a total of 36 miles with about 4,000 feet elevation gain multiple times to get all the meat back and everything back to the truck. So get it all back to the truck, and the meat pack was really the big story of this hunt. But thank you all for watching.